Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I have another process working in my 6x8 scrapbook. This process was supposed to be my project for the Felicity Jane blog, but the page sort of got messed up prior to me being able to take pictures of it, so I decided to do something else for it. So this is a treat for you all. Yeah, so it is another spread in my note to self binder. I'm doing a 6x8 layout next to a pocket page similar to my Dear Lizzie spread that I shared before. So for this one I already had my photos in my pockets, and so I'm using these photos from this little mini photo shoot that I did at home. I like doing these from time to time just to get pictures of myself, because I otherwise would not be in any photographs or in my scrapbooks at all if I don't take the photos of myself. So I'm doing a little mixed media background here, and you saw that I just kind of made a mess of things. I used some kind of like a teal mint acrylic paint and my white ink, and I just moved that to the side to let it dry, and now I'm working on all the other bits. So for my idea for this project was I was going to use these library cards from the Felicity Jane Catherine kit, and I was going to make like a library card pocket out of this beautiful floral paper that's in the kit. And so that is what I'm doing now. I just used the card as like a guide to cut down my paper. And since I'm documenting photos of myself, I pulled out pieces from the Catherine kit that were sort of about me. So there was a lot of about me sentiments, my story. What else was there? I know there was a piece that said about me. There was a piece that said my story. Just little pieces like that were in the die cut pack. So I pulled all those out because I was going to document these photographs of myself and do a little bit of writing on the library card that I'm going to tuck into the pocket, because you know me and tucking things into pockets and hidden journaling, I prefer that instead of having my handwriting all on display. And so I just trimmed down my paper to create this little pocket, and again I'm using the card as a guide. And my idea was to put the photo on top of the pocket somehow, but it didn't look right. And then I kind of struggled with placement of everything because I realized, wow, I'm doing this on a 6x8 page, and there's not a whole lot of room to work with when you're working on a 6x8, layout. And so here I'm doing my usual just building up a cluster behind my photograph. This is the photograph that I'm using, and so I took these photos because I had intended to start doing like a visual photo blog sort of thing. The goal was 100 self-portraits of some sort, or creative self-portraits as I was calling them, and write stories behind them. And so I have a couple of ideas. I have 2 that I've already executed, but I haven't written the stories that go with them. And so that's why you really haven't seen any of these photos yet, because I just am being really, really lazy and not sitting down and actually writing the written part of this project. And so these were the photos in the pockets were the outtakes. I would say they were the outtakes of everything. They were the photos that I liked that I didn't use for the project. What I am going to use is the photo that is front and center that's going to be on the layout. So the one that I just did like a simple cluster of a doily and some tissue paper. So here I'm working on the pocket page. This pocket page is it's going to be really simple. It's not as complicated as the Liz McGuire one. I am just cutting down some of the pattern papers from the Catherine kit into squares, and I already have my 2x2 photos in the pockets, and so it's just a process of cutting down paper and rearranging them so that they look okay and kind of balances out the layout. And what I end up doing is just embellishing those pattern paper squares with stickers and all sorts of things. So here I'm going back to the layout. So this, again, my page is drying, and so I'm trying to work with how I want to layer everything behind the photo and where I should put the pocket and all the stuff. So I kind of settled on putting the library card pocket like that next to my photograph, since I have all that green space. This photo is just half of my face like close up, so I have all like this negative, it's negative space really, it's the green wall in my home. And so I figured that the library card pocket would look better on that side, sort of at an angle. And so now I am taking this, literally the scrap pieces of paper that I just cut down, and I am just using it to create a border that has some pops of, a pop of color. This is great to use up these little scraps if you don't want to waste paper matting your photos. Just, try to line them up as best you can and then glue the photo right down onto it, and you have a little pop of color. And I only did it on the left side and the top and the bottom because, of course, the right side I'm going to have the library card pocket that I just made on top of it. So I just glued that all together, and I ruffled up the edges a bit of the paper so that they don't look like I just kind of pieced together papers to make the border. And now I'm taking my mixed media page, which is still a bit wet actually, and I'm pulling out a bunch of Felicity Jane stamps. I think I'm using the Brie stamp. There's a saying there that is beautiful you, and I'm stamping very lightly with this. It's like a very light mint color. You can barely see it on camera, but you can see it on the page. And I'm using the outline hearts from the Bailey stamp set as well. And I think those are the only two things that I use. I took a deeper color because I needed to see more of that green. And you can just see some of the hearts there. I don't know why I do all this, because I do end up covering most of it up. But my page is still not dry, but I'm impatient and I want to start layering stuff on top of it. So I'm gluing my photo to my little neutral cluster. It's just a doily and some tissue paper, and I'm trying to position everything on the page so that you still see a little bit of the mixed media that I did. But yeah, so I didn't glue anything down, but I'm looking through the label stickers. These are the add-on to Catherine, and I am using them as decorative pieces. I'm not going to journal on any of these, and I just kind of like want them to be all wonky coming out from the background of my little photo cluster here, and so that's what I'm doing here. But first I'm adding some more hearts, and I actually used a pink too to get some of that pink in, just because I'm covering up most of the background that I did, so yeah. And I think I go back in and add some more white ink, because of course I'm covering up all of the fun mixed media backgrounds. I'm just adding it on top, and you can see that I have splatters on the labels and everything, but that just sort of blends it all in together. And now of course I have to leave that to dry again because I just re-wet it. Trying to see if there needs to be any more labels on the page. I was going to add another mint one, but it doesn't actually end up on my page. Okay, fast forward it. Everything is dry now, and so now I can play around with adding things to the page. My page is really crinkly. It's really, it dried really crinkly, and what messed up was this page actually. When I went to glue it onto the previous page, I had to lift it up, but since it was so fragile from the mixed media, it ripped. And so yeah, I don't know if you can tell in the photographs, but I didn't feel like a ripped page should be on the Felicity Jane blog, and so I didn't scrap it, of course. I'm sharing it with you, but I did not do it. I did not submit that for my project. So here I am embellishing the pocket. I'm using a tag from the die cut pack that is like one of those room key tags. I really like it. It's really cute. And I used one of the puffy stickers that was actually a tag and layered it on top. And since they both have holes on the top, I took some mint baker's twine and I just made a little bow there. I really like how that adds a nice bit of dimension. And so yeah, I'm just embellishing the pocket. I'm actually gluing everything down so that it doesn't move, since it's kind of like at an angle. And I positioned it in a way so that it doesn't cover up the holes of the paper, because I really would hate to punch through that library card. I wanted to use my story piece. I was going to put it on the actual pocket page, but I actually end up moving it onto the library card pocket that I made. And I really wanted to use that tag, and it just doesn't end up on the spread at all. So I'm pulling out more of the die cuts, because the ones that I pulled out, I really didn't know like where to position everything. And so I'm trying to figure out that. I do end up using a lot of the puffy stickers from the kit. And you'll see here that I put all of my pattern papers into the pockets, and I'm putting the puffies right on top of the pockets, because I don't really like to have them sitting in the pockets, because it tends to warp the plastic a little bit. So for this one here, there's a lot of white space on the bottom of that paper, and so I'm using a branding strip, and I'm layering it with a little label from the die cuts, and I put a little staple there, and that's just kind of a nice fun little cluster. And I do end up adding another puffy sticker on top of that. I think everything gets puffy stickers on them, I think, every pocket. So this is where the My Story piece ends up. It ends up right on top of that library card right there, and I used the little About Me to add a little something something on top of the library card that I used. So here I pulled out the alphas from the Catherine kit, and I am pulling out the letters that spell my initials, and I realized that there's only one J in this entire alphabet set. I don't know if everybody else just got one J or if I just got one J, but I only got one J, and so I had to work with that kind of salmon pink color, because that's all I had. And so you see me here playing with the T and the M, trying to figure out which color combination worked best, or that I liked the most, because I only had that one J puffy. I thought that was so bizarre, because all the other letters you have multiples of, but I only had one J. And I know I'm not going crazy, I had only one J. So I settled on those colors, and then I put the bow puffy sticker on top of that pocket there. And now I'm gluing the My Story piece onto the library card pocket, and I embellished that with these hearts puffies. I used like almost all of the puffy stickers that I had left on this spread. So you saw that I put that little paper clip there. That paper clip I made using the Megan bows, and I just kind of glued it onto the paper clip, and it actually does end up there on the spread. It's just I have to glue everything down, and I think it's one of the last pieces that I end up putting there. Here I'm just fussing with the page because, again, it's really, really warped. And the paper that I use is one of the grid inserts from Felicity Jane. So here you see that I just stapled that a little About Me piece there, and I forget what I do next. Oh, I'm putting some foam squares under that little My Story because it kind of hanging off the edge a little bit there, and I added another puffy sticker onto that. I believe I use up almost all of these puppy stickers. So I really wanted to use that circle, the little pie chart, because I love pie charts and I love filling in things with the pie charts. So I moved the floral piece over the mint polka dot, and I put the pie chart up there on top of the black and white pattern paper. And I pull out a branding strip, I believe, oh my god, which is the kit that came with the paper full of the labels? I feel like this was the Grace kit. It came with a sheet, you know, a big 12 by 12 full of labels that you can cut apart. So the branding strip is a little bit smaller, and so it has like not perfect labels, but I am just like, I can cut out the ones that sort of match the colors to the pie chart and use them to like kind of what is it, like label the chart and different. So I was gonna label like all of the pieces. I think there are like 5 pieces in this pie chart, but I only end up using 3 just because it looks better, it looks more even. And what I end up sectioning it off is just pertaining to me. So I put creative, traveler, and foodie, I think is how I broke up the little pie chart. Because what I end up journaling about on the library card is just, you know, when people ask you, how would you describe yourself, and insert how many words, whatever, what words come to mind. And for me, I know a lot of the times creative comes up first, traveler, foodie, and then other words like introvert, loyal, and other word. I think I listed some other words there. But I've done something like this before, and these are the 3 words that I use the most, so I decided just to go with it. And you see here, I'm just sticking double-sided tape just to glue them on top of the puppy sticker. And I was going to do 5, and then I realized it just looks weird with the 5, and so I'm only going to do 3. So I end up replacing the foodie label with the yellow label because it's on top of the yellow section of the pie chart. And so that's what you see me here, swapping it out. And yeah, I don't think I'm quite finished yet, but I am putting them both into my planner. I do end up adding the ampersand puffy sticker to the last pocket that doesn't have a puffy sticker on it. Oh, I took out the epoxy hearts from Felicity Jane. I love those things to just embellish. I'm using some of the smaller ones from the Bailey kit to add a little bit of flair. They're sort of, I use them like enamel dots, and so they're with my enamel dots. And I think this is where I put the ampersand. And yeah, I think that is my spread here. I will insert the photographs, and you can see how crumply that page ended up looking. It just wouldn't feel right to put that onto the Felicity Jane blog. But I have it here for you. I really hope you enjoyed this process. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, I will leave links down below to anything that I use from Felicity Jane. They are affiliate links, so I do get a percentage commission when you purchase through my links. And yeah, thank you so much for watching again, and I will see you all next time. Bye!